Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos. And on this video this morning, I am going to be, talking about, what happened in the Man United Wolves game yesterday. Obviously, you saw my match reaction yesterday. But I am going to tell you on this video what I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got wrong in the game. And I also do believe from my own perception that Anthony Martial now should be dropped. Because we will start with Anthony Martial. I thought he was extremely poor against Wolves yesterday. And I think he's been poor, Martial, at least in his last 6 or 7 games. I know a lot of people are saying, he's not getting enough service. But when he does get the ball, he tends to do nothing with it, Anthony Martial. And okay, he's had some good spells as a Manchester United player. I thought we mainly saw the best of Anthony Martial when he first came into Manchester United under the Louis van Gaal era. Because he was very, very good in his debut season, to be fair. Manchester United, of course, paid quite a lot of money for Martial. We paid around, 36 million, potentially rising up to 57 or 58 million pounds based on goals and achievements. And we did get him from Monaco. So Martial now is into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. He has also had a lot of injuries. He was injured earlier on this season. Some people have got different perceptions on him. Some people believe he's good in that number 9 role. Some people believe he's not good in that number 9 role. And some people believe you see the best of Anthony Martial out wide. But he has now made over 200 appearances for the club as Martial. I think is he on around 59 or is it 60 senior goals? But I do believe now the club should drop Anthony Martial. And I think now, Mason Greenwood, should be getting more opportunities. I think, I prefer Mason Greenwood in number 9 now than Anthony Martial. And Greenwood's not getting enough starts in the Premier League. Like I've been saying to you, it's been totally comparison like the cup competitions, because Greenwood's getting a lot of starts in the cup competitions, but he's not getting enough starts in the Premier League. I think Mason Greenwood's one of the players that will become a success at Manchester United, one of the young players that will become a success. He's on 10 senior goals this season in 20 odd first team appearances. He's making a lot of substitute appearances in the Premier League, but he's just not getting enough starts basically, is Mason Greenwood. So Solskjaer does need to start him more. But reverting back to what I said, yeah, I think Anthony Martial does need to be currently dropped, definitely in that. So what I think, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, did get wrong yesterday is that obviously, he brought Jesse Lingard on in the game. Jesse Lingard should have never come on. Because we do know how inconsistent Jesse Lingard has been this season. I don't think he's yet scored in the Premier League this season as Jesse Lingard. Don't forget, in the whole of last year, Jesse Lingard didn't register 1 goal or 1 single assist. And I think, Jesse Lingard is one of the players that Manchester United need to consider moving on. And like I said, reflecting on his status and the number of years he's been at this football club, he should be putting much more better performances out. But Jesse Lingard does need to be moved on. So he should not now be playing at all. Again, like I said on the reaction to the game yesterday, the interchanging was absolutely dreadful in the first half. Obviously, Bruno Fernandez, for some reason, was switched he was put as a holding midfielder when he's not even a holding midfielder. He never played as a holding midfielder for Sporting Lisbon. He was always an attacking midfielder because Bruno Fernandez is predominantly an attacking midfielder. So what I think he did is put Bruno Fernandez as a holding midfielder, and I think he put Andres Pereira in the number 10. And, I don't really get that. Andres Pereira is a holding midfielder, not Bruno Fernandez in that. But to be fair, I thought Bruno Fernandez was okay on his debut for the club. Like I mentioned, he had, I think, most of the touches in the first half of the game. He also, had around 3 decent chances. I think he had 5 shots in total. 5 shots, 3 of them were on target. But obviously, they were from long range. But I thought Bruno Fernandes did quite well. He did quite well, did Bruno Fernandes on his debut for the club. And Solskjaer believes in his own perception that he will become a success at the club. Solskjaer praised him, for the good performance he did put out on his current debut, Bruno Fernandes and that. But, it took us like around 40 minutes, to register our first shot on target in the game. I don't think we registered a shot in the box until like the 71st minute or something like that of the current game. But I thought in general anyway, the game lacked quality. I've got to be quite honest with you. I thought both teams, were actually poor. I probably, say Wolves, dominated periods of the first half and that, they dominated us in terms of chances, they dominated the possession and that, and Wolves, could have had a few goals, David De Gea had to make some decent saves in the game, they had the likes of Raul Jimenez who had some chances, Adam Traore had a big chance for them in the first half, just went wide. So Wolves had some pretty decent chances in that current game. But, Solskjaer give his overarching view on it. And, he says that Wolves are a very difficult team to break down. He's aware of how much of a good team Wolves are because they've got good players in their team. There's some of their players that would be determined to bring at Man United. They've also got a good manager in Nuno Santo. And, he basically, said, from his own perception, that he felt Man United dominated the game. We did dominate the possession because, we had the ball a lot on the edge of their box in the second half and we did have a lot of the possession. And he says, Wolves were good on the counter-attack and that. And he feels as though, that he thinks someone moved the goalpost, Solskjaer, because, he's been pointed out a few times where Man United, should have actually scored. Diego Dalot should have scored right at the end. I don't know how he hasn't scored that. But yeah, the game lacked quality, and I thought a lot of aspects of the game did replicate the game against Wolves in the FA Cup third round at Molineux, because I think in that game, not one team, registered a single shot on target. Well, Manchester United, didn't. But it's a very, very bad result, that 0-0 draw against Wolves. Some people say it's a decent result because it proves that we can compete against, elite opposition, and Wolves are a pretty decent team, but it's not good enough. We're sixth now in the league. We've registered 35 points from 25 Premier League games, and there's 13 games to go. So 35 points from 25 games is nowhere near good enough to our standards. Yet again, we failed to close that gap on that top four. We could have closed the gap, because Chelsea yet again drew yesterday with Leicester 2-2. So they dropped points. And Chelsea have been so inconsistent this season. We are still in that top four race. But if I'm going to say that, also Wolves are still in that top four race because Wolves are on exactly the same points as Manchester United. But, can you see Manchester United now getting that top four? And that is the question. But, it's not good enough. We are now winless in our last 3 Premier League games. We haven't even scored 1 goal in our last 3 Premier League games. And, of course, Solskjaer was looking to beat Wolves for the second time as a manager and that. But, we just seem to struggle against Wolves for some reason. Solskjaer did make, I think, a couple of changes. Obviously, from the 1-0 win against Man City in the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg. There was a couple of changes made. Obviously, Matic wasn't playing because I think Matic was suspended, reflecting on his sending off against City. Solskjaer, gave his own perception on that and said it was a joke. Obviously, we have still got some injuries in that, but, that's not excusable for how inconsistent Manchester United have been. Obviously, there's still no Paul Pogba. There's still no McTominay. I think, Pogba could be back for the game against Chelsea after the winter break. I think McTominay's due back sometime this month. I think also Tuan Zebe could be back for the Chelsea game. Obviously, Marcus Rashford's out. Obviously, he's sustained a double fracture in his back, and Rashford's going to be out for a couple of months at least. But, we have got Odion Migalo in as well. So, obviously, he's also a good alternative to Anthony Martial. Obviously, we've got Odion Migalo in on loan until the end of the season from Shanghai Shenhua. It is a 6-month loan. There is no option to buy, and Manchester United, of course, are paying him around £100,000 a week. So we are paying a third of his current wages. Solskjaer believes he will be a great addition to the squad because he's an experienced player. Plus, he is a Manchester United fan, and plus he's well proven in the Premier League. Is Odion Igalo. We got him just before the transfer window shut. Obviously, Tottenham tried getting him in, but obviously, Tottenham didn't get him. But he has come to Manchester United. I don't think he's arrived in Manchester yet for his medical. But yeah, we have definitely got the player in on loan. Obviously, in China, he scored 46 goals in 72 games. During his 3-year tenure with Watford, he scored 39 goals in 99 matches for Watford. And I think he played Manchester United around 3 times, during his 3-year period with Watford. Don't forget last year, he was a top scorer of the African Cup of Nations. Obviously, when he was younger, he had loan spells at Granada, a couple of loan spells with them. Underneath, he played for, also played in Norway. But seems a pretty, very decent player, and he is 30 years of age. But he is a good cover-up to Marcus Rashford, and I do believe Manchester United will be determined to give him the chances that he does currently need, definitely. And so yeah, I'm very, very delighted about that. Obviously, no more signings are needed at Manchester United in the summer, and Solskjaer is already making plans for the summer. I think, we need at least around 3 or 4 more signings if we are to be back to where we do currently want to be. We need about 3 or 4 more signings. So I think in the summer, I think Manchester United probably need a left back, but we need a holding midfielder. Because quite clearly the likes of Pereira or even Matic aren't good enough. Possibly need a right winner. And, yes, so there's still areas in the squad there that do need to be addressed in that. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came to Manchester United, I think he spent nearly £150 million last summer on Daniel James, who hasn't been so good himself in the last month. He wasn't too good yesterday. And Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire. So I think we spent around 143 hours at 144 million on them. Obviously, we got Bruno Fernandez in January, just gone. And obviously, we paid around £68 million for him. 46 million point 5, was it, something like that up front, with 25 with like 20 odd million pounds in add-ons. So yeah, we paid around £68 million for him. And obviously, we've paid around £3 or £4 million to get Odion Igalo in on loan from China. So it's over £200 million now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has spent, since he has been recommended in. And Solskjaer has been at Manchester United for 13 months. He's nearly been here 14 months now. Yeah, nearly 14 months Solskjaer's been here. He's been permanent manager for almost 11 months. But this is our worst start ever to a Premier League season. So now this is the lowest Manchester United have ever been. And that just indicates how bad we are. And, Solskjaer has only won 11 games in the Premier League since he was appointed permanent manager back in March of last year. And he's now, I think, managed 33 games in the Premier League since he was a permanent manager. But his record is absolutely disastrous. Totally comparison to his record when he was the interim manager, because when he was the interim manager, he did really, really well. The results were good, the performances were good. He got the best out of these group of players, and he won his first 8 games. We won 10 games out of 13 in the Premier League. And then we won 14 out of 19 in all competitions. And then my perceptions were different regarding Solskjaer then, because I felt as though he was the right manager for Manchester United. Reflect on what he did as the interim manager. Obviously, the club decided to give him the job permanently. Solskjaer's got 2.5 years left now on his current deal at Manchester United. But I still believe Man United won't sack him at this moment in time. I still probably believe that we'll be determined to give him another season at Manchester United, because this is his first full season at the moment. Probably us changing manager at the moment, wouldn't be, the right solution in that. To be quite honest with you. Wouldn't be the right solution in that. But of course, Solskjaer, yesterday against Wolves, did revert back to the 4-2-3-1 formation. Obviously, he has been going with that formation on a regular basis this season. And that formation, for me, doesn't really suit our standards. Because in the last 2 games before yesterday, Manchester United went with 3 at the back. And I think from my own perception, we look more expansive with three at the back and that. Some people don't like us with three at the back, but, we've only gone with three at the back in about 3 or 4 games this season. I think Solskjaer reverted to the 4-3-1, obviously, because of, obviously, Bruno Fernandez. And referring back to what I said about Bruno Fernandez, I think he's a very, very decent player, and I'm sure he'll do well with Manchester United, but the problem is, he's not playing them on good enough plays, is Bruno Fernandes at the moment and that. So the team have got to start performing, to be quite honest with you. But, I think Bruno Fernandes, could he, save Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the club? But there is actually quite a lot of decent players in our squad. There's a lot of players that are good enough, but there's still a lot of decent players in our squad. And there must be, reflecting on the amount of money that we've spent in the last 6 or 7 years. Because we've spent nearly £1 billion in the last 6 or 7 years, something like that anywhere, on recruiting new players in. And this is since the Alex Ferguson era. A lot of money's been spent at the club. Not only that, we've got the highest wage bill in the Premier League. So, we're not in the commanding position that we should be in with the money that's been spent, like I mentioned, reflecting on the size and the potential of the club and that. It's just a joke, really. You've got Sheffield United that are higher than us. They've spent nowhere near what we've spent. You've got Leicester that are higher than us. They've spent nowhere near as much as we spent. Man City, they've spent money, but they haven't spent nowhere near as much as us in the last 6 or 7 years. They have spent a lot of money since Guardiola got recommended in. And Liverpool haven't spent nowhere near as much as us. I think we spent at least £100 million more than Liverpool in the last 6 or 7 years. You've got Liverpool that are sitting top of the Premier League. 24 games have won out of 25. They're unbeaten in 42 Premier League games. They're unbeaten in 50-odd games at Anfield. Nearly 3 years now, they're unbeaten at Anfield. They've registered 73 points in 25 games. Liverpool, of course, are breaking records. And Liverpool are on course to win their first Premier League title for 30 years, yeah. So they are going to end their 30-year drought, basically. But, But Man United are just not playing the right football, basically. So a lot of our players are better than a lot of teams, better than a lot of other teams' players in the league. But we don't play better football than them teams. We're not playing better football in Sheffield United. We're not playing better football in Liverpool. We're not playing better football in Man City. And this is what it is. Solskjaer has no style of play, like I've been mentioning on my videos. Like I said, my element of concerns about him is being tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. He doesn't really seem to have a plan A. He doesn't have a plan B. He isn't the long-term solution for Manchester United. And, Gary Neville come out and give his overarching view on it. And, he actually, said that, he says, about, the transfers and that, he says, our transfer planning is poor. This is from his own current perception. I think he also gave his overarching view on Man United getting Odi and Migalo in. But like I've mentioned, our recruitment policy has been very poor in the last 6 or 7 years. Neville criticised it. Ferdinand criticised it the other week. I think this was after the 2-0 defeat to Burnley. But it isn't good enough, it is not good enough. And, like I've said, we need to see a lot of changes at Manchester United. There's fundamental issues at the club, like Rio Ferdinand was saying, the other week. And he talked a lot of sense to Rio Ferdinand. And, Ed Woodward, of course, needs to go. The Glazers need to go. A lot of United fans are protesting Ed Woodward and the Glazers. Obviously, they planned the 58th minute walkout, but I don't think it happened. No, I don't think it did happen. Obviously, they want them both. They want them out, the Glazers and Ed Woodward. I also want our board out because our board has been a liability for several years. We need a change of management, definitely. But there's not only problems with the management and the backroom staff, and that. There's also problems on the pitch as well. So there's a lot of issues at Manchester United, and these issues at some point need to be resolved. Because I don't like the way the football club's been run in the last 6 or 7 years. I'm going to be honest with you on that. And there's more players that have got to leave Manchester United, definitely. And, 2 players have gone this year. Rojo went out on loan to Estudiantes. He's gone back to Argentina. Young went to Inter Milan for 1.5 million. after he endured 8.5 years at Manchester United. But there's more players that need to go in this summer. Jones needs to go, Matic needs to go, Pereira needs to go. It's too much of a liability, Pereira. As you saw yesterday, he had a lot of wasteful shots in the game against Wolves. I think Jesse Lingard definitely needs to be moved on. A lot of people now saying Luke Shaw needs to go. I think that's another mistake Solskjaer made yesterday, was starting Luke Shaw. Brandon Williams is supposed to be our first choice left back now, but I think he's a better solution than Luke Shaw, because Luke Shaw has had a lot of injury problems as a Manchester United player, and maybe he could be moved on in the summer. Fred, I'd keep Fred, because I think Fred is improving as a Manchester United player. I think Fred can perform bad sometimes. Sometimes, for me, it depends who he's playing alongside. I think we mainly saw the best of Fred when he was playing alongside McTominay earlier on in the season. Of course, when McTominay, was fully fit. And yeah, so these two players I would get rid of. Maybe I would get rid of Anthony Martial now, reflecting on his poor run of performances. But, these two players I would be determined to keep at the football club. I'd be determined to keep Rashford, obviously. I'd keep... I know I said at first I'd keep Martial, but now with how poor he's been recently, maybe my perception could change. But I would keep Rashford. I'd keep McTominay. I'd keep Fred. I'd keep James Bissaka and Harry Maguire. I know James hasn't been so good in the last month or so, but I would still give him time. Bissaka's done well at right back for us, let's be honest. Harry Maguire's done well as a centre-half for us. He's had some bad games here and there, but I think he's really done well. I think we made the right decision, by the way, giving Harry Maguire the captaincy on a permanent basis, but we did give him the captaincy, obviously reflecting on the departure of Ashley Young. So yeah, these some players I would keep. Obviously, there's a lot of young players that I think are going to do well, and that's one aspect to me like credit Solskjaer. He's got a lot of trustworthy in his young players. Obviously, Greenwood, he's going to do well. Williams is going to do well. Tuanzebe, I think he'll do well when he comes back. Diego Dalot, I don't have a perception on him yet, because I haven't really seen him play much as a Manchester United player. And that, I know last season towards the end he was playing a lot on the right wing, because last season Ashley Young was our first choice right back, so he was playing on the right wing. I think a few times Dalot has played as a left back, but he obviously has had a few injuries this season as Diego Dalot. Obviously we got him from Porto. This was back under the Jose Mourinho era. But definitely these still players I would be determined to keep. Angel Gomes, he never plays. And this is why I don't see the point keeping him. When's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going to be convinced, to play Angel Gomes? Chong, I think he's going to be going on a free transfer at the end of the season, definitely in that. So, yeah, and I did say, didn't I, I hope this team, this day and age, can replicate, what the team did under Ferguson, and I hope Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can, bring the right calibre players in that can replicate what the team did under Ferguson. And Bruno Fernandez is the right calibre player. But we just know that he's not enough. He's not enough. We need more than Bruno Fernandez and that. But, not all of the blame just stems from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But, Man United are not really known for the sacking football club, despite the fact that we've sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we sacked David Moyes after 10 months. That was one mistake Ferguson made, was obviously not ever recommended David Moyes in. He was never the right man. Obviously, Van Gaal, he came in, won the FA Cup, but wasn't the right manager for Man United. His philosophy wasn't right for the club. Jose Mourinho, he endured a 2.5 year tenure at Manchester United, but it didn't work out for him. I think from my own perception, Manchester United recommended Jose Mourinho in too late. You could have said, really, we should have recommended him in after Alex Ferguson, then maybe it would have been a different sort of scenario with Manchester United, definitely in that. So yeah, 3 managers have been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era and that. But I've got to say, I think the club have made a lot of mistakes over the years, and this is not the only, but I think it is the main explanation why we've been so inconsistent, definitely in that. And we've had different managers with different sort of philosophies in that, and we need someone to come in who's going to fit the strappings. Someone's going to suit the strappings of the club. Someone who's got the right philosophy for the club and that. And it definitely isn't Solskjaer, despite the fact that he knows the club inside out. I think we need to get a manager in with a proven pedigree, a manager at the top level. there again, not always the answer, because we've had two world-class managers, and that, was Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. So, yeah, and we won't sack him at the moment anyway, because if we did sack Solskjaer, we'd have to pay to get rid of him. I think we'd have to pay around £5 million to get rid of Solskjaer. But, that's around £15 million less than Mourinho. Because we paid 20 million to get rid of Mourinho, around 8 or 9 to get rid of Van Gaal, around 5 or 6 to get rid of David Moyes. But I think Solskjaer knows he's not good enough for the job, but he won't admit it. Obviously, he isn't going to resign. I think he should do, but he's not going to, because obviously then he's not going to get a payoff. He's Solskjaer, So, it's a long rebuilding process for Manchester United. Definitely is, and we've got to get the players that we want in the summer, definitely. And, we've got ambitions this season, and one of those ambitions is to finish in the top 4. Also, one of our ambitions is to win the FA Cup, because that's a chance of getting silverware on the board. Also, one of our ambitions is to win Europa League, because that's to get silverware on the board, plus it's another route to Champions League football, definitely in that. Pogba will go in the summer. I think he's another player that will go as well, definitely in the summer. Because we sit actually basically, Bruno Fernandez is the replacement for Paul Pogba. Definitely in that. But for me, Solskjaer, he's out of his depth. Revert back to what I said, he's out of his depth. Doesn't know how to change a game. And too inexperienced as a manager. Again, as I keep saying, same perception on Michael Carrick, who was one of the coaching staff. Too inexperienced, but was a good player. Kieran McKenna, too inexperienced. So we need to see a lot of changes at the club. But some people would have been delighted with the result, believe it or not. We didn't lose, we got the draw. Wolves are a decent team. Record against the top 6 sides, very good. Nuno Santo, very, very good manager. But I just thought it was a boring game of football, to be quite honest with you. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.